So we're gonna start off with look number 1. And today, I think for the first look I want to do more of a cool tone look. So I really want to use this shade down here called Dusty Rose, as well as like Rose Pink and Sultry. So I'm going to try and go for a cool tone look for the first look, and then we'll see how that goes. Obviously this is a very like neutrally warm toned palette, but there are some beautiful shades or like pops of cool as well. So I think this is a very versatile palette. I'm really excited to dig in. I've been playing around with it for a few weeks now, trying to come up with ideas for my 3 looks, and I've been really enjoying using it. So I'm really excited to get into this today. So I'm going to start off by just priming my lids, and I'm just going to be using my MAC, what is this, Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I'm just going to take a flat shader brush that I can't find. Here we go. I'm just going to take a flat shader brush and kind of use this to prime my lids. I just like that this gives us a nice like even base for the eyeshadow. Okay, so now that we have our base down, I'm just going to take a really fluffy brush. This is just a Morphe R37. I'm going to take the shade Tempera, which is like this shade here, and I'm just going to set my lids with that. This is like the boring part of looks. So that's all set. We're going to move on to the eyeshadow. I will say, if you are interested in purchasing this palette, there is a tad bit of like kickback or like powder that comes up when you press into the shadows, but I would say it's more comparable to the Modern Renaissance palette than Subculture, so just keep that in mind. They are super pigmented, so there is going to be a little bit of that like powderiness, but it's not as bad as Subculture. So now I'm just going to go in with Dusty Rose on a fluffy brush. One smaller than this. Here it is. I'm going to take my NYX Professional Makeup 16 brush. I love this for applying shadow in the crease. I'm just going to take Dusty Rose and start building that up in my crease. And I'm just going to lightly start blending this into the crease. I haven't done a cool look in so long, so I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out. Sometimes I tell myself, I'm like, I'm gonna wear some cool eyeshadow today, and you know, it turns warm. So these shades blend out super easily. I'm not having to put a lot of work in or pressure into my brush to get this to blend out evenly on my lid or on in my crease. So they're really nice. I'm just gonna keep building this up on this eye. So now I'm just gonna do the same thing to the other eye. Just gonna blend it in my crease. So now that that first base color is down, I'm gonna start going in with some glittery shades. I think I'm going to top off my lid with a combination of Sultry and Rose Pink, which are these two right here. And then I wanna go in with a mixture of Cypress Umber and Noir, and I'm gonna do like a false liner kind of thing, like a little false wing. I'm going to take this June & Co brush. It is ES06, and I'm going to take that shade Sultry, and I'm gonna put it on the outer half of my lid, and then I'm gonna take Rose Pink and put that on the inner half. With shimmer shades, I like to just kind of dip my brush into them and then just press them onto the lid. I feel like that's how I get the best look out of them. Or I'll even take my finger and dip them in and just like press them into the lid. What I like about these shimmer shades is you don't have to like spray them or anything. You get a pretty intense color payoff and shimmer payoff without spraying them. I mean, obviously if you sprayed them it would be even more intense, but for today I'm just going to use them as is. So now I'm going to take Rose Pink. I'm going to use my finger for this one to see the difference. And I'm going to apply that on the inner part of my lid. So I'm going to take that first brush, the brush we used for the darker shade. I'm not going to put any more product on it, but I'm just going to stamp it where those two shades meet to kind of blend them together. So that's the look so far. I went a little crazy with the Rose Pink shade. I only meant to put it on the inner half, but I kind of went a little too far, so we're just going to go with it. But I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye. Okay, so this is pretty much the eyeshadow down. I'm going to go put on some face makeup and finish up my makeup, and then we're going to come back and finish the eyes, and that'll be the first look. Okay, so face makeup is on. If you're interested, I'll leave all of the details in the description box about what I used. But we're going to move on to the lower lash line and the faux liner, and then that will complete this look. So I'm going to take a small little pencil brush. Which one do I want to use? I'm going to use the Sigma E30, and I'm going to dip into that first Dusty Rose color that we use and just apply that along the lower lash line to connect this wing down at the bottom. I like to keep my lower lash line pretty tame because sometimes when I go a little crazy, it looks a little weird on me. Okay, so now I'm going to take a combination of Sultry and Rose Pink and just run that on the inner half. I'm just going to mix them together because I think that's going to get me the look that I want. So it just kind of brings everything together. The top and bottom looks more uniform. I actually really like how this is turning out. I normally don't love pinky cool tones on my eyes, but so far so good. So now we're going to try and do that faux liner that I mentioned. I'm going to take a combination, I think, of Cypress Umber and Mulberry first actually, and kind of run that kind of on the inner part of my eye to like almost the very outer corner, and then I'm going to finish the outer corner off with some of the Noir, which is the black shade in this palette. I'm just going to take this angled brush. It's the Brow Girl. It's actually a brow brush, but it has like the best angle to it. I don't know. I love it. I'm just going to mix Cypress Umber and Mulberry and start lining my eyes with that. On the inner part of my eye, I'm keeping it as close to the lashes as I can, and then kind of letting it get a little bit thicker as it goes or moves towards the outer edge. So that was my faux wing so far. I want to blend it out a little bit so it's not so intense. So I'm going to take a little shader brush. This is a Chanel brush. It's number 3. It's just like this really fluffy pencil brush, so I like it for like blending out. And I'm just going to run this along that line that we made. So I was just pushing the product upwards so that it would kind of blend out a little bit and blend into the shadow that we've already placed. I'm going to go into that Dusty Rose color again and kind of put a little bit of that on this brush to help blend it out a little bit more. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye, and then we are going to add some mascara, and that'll complete the first look. So here is the finished look. It's a little smokier than I intended, but I do really like the faux liner that I applied, and I think the mascara just kind of pulled it all together. It was really fun kind of playing with some more cool toned eyeshadows. It's not something that I really do that often, so this is definitely very, very different for me. My next look will definitely be warm toned because I'm just more comfortable with warm toned shades, but I'm actually not too mad about how it turned out. This eye turned out really well. This eye is a little wonky over here. I don't know if you can see it. But this eye turned out really good. I actually really, really like this. I think the faux liner just kind of really like tapers the eye. Sorry, I keep looking at my viewfinder to like look at it. But yeah, this eye turned out really good. This eye got a little wonky, but I still think the look is really pretty, and this is definitely a look that I will be recreating again and wearing a lot because I do really like how these eyeshadows look on my eye. So if you want to see the second look that I create with this palette, just keep on watching because we're going to get right into it. So we're going to dive right into the eyes, and I'm going to start off by taking some concealer and just creating a nice base for the eyeshadow. I'm going to use my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I'm just going to create a nice even base. This is nothing new. So now that that's blended, I'm just going to take a big, huge shader brush. This is the large shader E60 from Sigma. I'm going to take the shade Tempera, which is this shade right here, and just set that down. Ignore all of this irritation. I used a new product to take my makeup off, and it really severely irritated my skin, even on my neck, because I had some bronzing product down here that I was rinsing away, and so yeah, that was fun. But we're gonna ignore that. Today I wanted to do a very monochromatic look, so I'm only going to be using this shade Mulberry for the most part, and then the shade Sienna kind of in my crease and such, and maybe a little bit of Cypress Umber to like deepen up the outer corners. But I want to focus mainly on the shade. I want to do very monochromatic, very like cranberry, berry-ish tones going on. This is probably one of my favorite shades in the palette. But first, I'm going to start off with Sienna. I'm just going to take a very tiny bit of this and run it in my crease. Just kind of set down some shadow there before we go in with the Mulberry shade. And I'm going to take, if I can find it, I need a better way to organize my brushes. I'm going to take the NYX Professional Makeup 16 brush. This is like their fluffy shading brush. No, fluffy blending brush. This is one of the best eyeshadow brushes I have ever used. I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorites and I need to buy more. So I'm just going to very lightly dust this into my crease. I like to keep my eye open for this because I like it to be right on this ridge right here. So I'm just taking a very light wash of this color. I'm going to take a little bit more of my brush and kind of blend it down to my lash line right here, just to create that like V look. Alright, so I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye quickly, and then we will go in with that mulberry shade. Now I'm going to take a shader brush and I'm going to use this no-name shader brush. I don't even know. My boyfriend got me a brush set for Christmas and I can't remember where he bought it. I think off of Groupon maybe? And honestly, the shader brushes in the kit, there were a lot of brushes in the kit that were really good, but the shader brushes are like the best shader brushes I have ever used. I don't know what it is, but they're really good. So unfortunately, I don't know the brand, but I'm just using this shader brush. Any shader brush will do. And I'm going to dip into the mulberry shade and start packing that on the outer half of my lid. We're going to start with the outer half and then I may go in further, but I don't know. We're kind of winging this. I'm just kind of patting the shade on. I want it to build up really intensely, so I'm trying not to drag it all. And we're going for the whole lid apparently. So I'm gonna go back in with my blending brush and blend out that edge. I'm gonna throw my brush apparently. I'm gonna leave the very inner corner of my eye blank because I'm gonna go in with a shimmer shade and fill that in eventually, but for right now I'm just going to keep packing this mulberry shade on. I'm gonna do another layer just to really intensify the color. Alright, I'm going to dip my brush back into sienna and kind of buff out that edge. And we'll clean that up with a makeup wipe in a sec, if I brought any with me. So now I'm just going to do the other eye the exact same way, and then I'll come back and we will move on to the next step. Alright, so this is the look so far. I'm going to take a small... this little brush. This is another one of those brushes from that set I was talking about. It's actually a lip brush, but I like using this for the inner corner of my eye to put some like highlighty shades down. It's so small and skinny, it works really well. I'm going to take some of the shade Glistening right here and put that onto my brush very generously, and then spray some Fix Plus, and we're just going to pack that on the very inner corner. And I'm just going to try and feather it into the mulberry shade. This brush just gets in there so nicely. Oh, I love it. Alright, so I'm going to go back to my original shader brush, and there's still a good bit of product on here, so I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going to pat it where those two shadows meet and try and blend that edge a little bit. So I'm going to go back in and get more of that and do the other eye and spray my brush a little bit more. I always struggled putting like shadow on the inner corner of my eye. I don't know why. The inner corners of my eye apparently are just really teeny tiny. I could never get shadow to look good there until I found the trick of using a lip brush. The shape and size of it just works really perfectly. I think I put way more on this side. Alright, and I'm just going to go back in with that shader brush. I am going to put a little bit more product on it, but just like the tiniest bit. And blend this together. So I'm going to go fill in my eyebrows quickly, and then I'm going to come back and show you a little bit of my face makeup. I'm not going to show it like in full length because this video would be an hour, but I'm going to run through it very quickly, and then we'll finish up the lower lash line and throw on some mascara, and that'll be the second look. Alright, brows are on. I just filled them in with my Benefit Precisely my brow pencil and then topped it off with my Glossy Boy Brow, but we're going to move on to the face super quickly, hopefully. I'm going to take a mixture of my Glossier Priming Moisturizer and the Marc Jacobs Coconut Dewdrops, and that's going to be my base. I just like to mix it on the back of my hand. These two products are really nice mixed together because you have the hydrating aspect and then you also have the glow aspect, which is my two favorite things to put on my face. And then we're gonna cover up all this redness. So, okay, while that's sinking into my skin, I'm going to take a makeup wipe and just kind of clean up these edges a tiny bit so they're not super blown out. I want it to be a little bit crisper. And I just follow my natural lash line. I do have pigmentation in the corner of my eye, so it doesn't really look like I did anything on camera, but it just helps clean it up a tiny bit. So we're gonna move on to my face makeup, and I'm going to be doing another mixture. I'm going to be mixing the Tarte Guard Tinted Moisturizer and the Marc Jacobs Shameless Foundation. So what I do is I just pump both out on my hand, dot it kind of around my face. Alright, so I'm just going to take my beauty blender and start blending this into the skin. I'll fast forward this so that you guys do not get bored. So I'm just going to take the excess that's on the back of my hand and just kind of press it into the places that I need a tiny bit more coverage. This combination is super buildable too, which is why I like wearing it so much. Alright, so now I'm just going to take my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer and conceal under my eyes and around my nose and in any of the places. I might highlight a little bit with this. Any of the places that I feel like I need to cover up some redness, which is pretty much my entire cheeks right now. Alright, and I'm just going to blend it out with my beauty blender again. So I'm just going to spray my face quickly with some Fix Plus and then kind of pat it into my skin with my beauty blender. I like to do this after I do my face makeup just to give my skin a little bit of glow, especially if I'm wearing like a medium to full coverage foundation. So we're going to finish up the eyes now and then do the rest of the face makeup after. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to take this Marc Jacobs highliner in Fine Wine and I'm going to put that on my lower lash line. I want to keep it just in the lower lash area and not on the waterline at all. I just feel like on my eye shape that's what looks the best, but if you like liner in your waterline, go for it. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of this on the outer corner. And I'm going to apply a little bit really close to my lashes on the top as well. I'm focusing this mainly on the outer corners of my eye, just to add some definition. I'm going to take this little itty bitty pencil brush. This is the Sigma E30, and I'm going to dip back into that mulberry shade and blend out this liner on the top and the bottom. So now I'm going to go back in with that lip brush that I used for the inner corner highlight. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom inner part. Alright, and that is the finished eyeshadow. I would definitely, there's Lord mercy about her all over me, but I'm going to finish the makeup quickly, face makeup off camera, put on some mascara, and then I will come back and zoom you guys in so you can see the look super close up. And this is the finished look. So I'm going to zoom you guys in quickly so you can see it up close. So here's the look up close. It's just very monochromatic with a little bit of gold on the inside. I really love this look. I actually think it turned out surprisingly well. I'm trying to be more adventurous in this video, so let me know what you guys think. I feel like the mascara just kind of pulled it together, and I did apply mascara on my bottom lashes, even though I know I'm going to regret it, so that you could see what it would look like. I love bottom lash mascara, but on me it just gets everywhere, so it looks beautiful right now, but I'm sure it's going to run all over the place, but it was totally worth it. So yeah, this is the final look. I'm going to zoom you guys back out quickly. So here's my second look for the ABH Soft Glam palette. I know the first two looks were, I feel like, more intense than what I would normally do on our channel. So the third look is going to be a very neutral, very natural, everyday look for me with the palette. And if you want to see what that look looks like, then just keep on watching. Okay, so we're on to the final look. And today I'm going to be doing a more natural look with this palette. The first two looks were a little bit more like bolder than I would go for on an everyday basis. So I kind of wanted to show you guys what I would do on an everyday basis with this palette. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a mixture of burnt orange and cream soda, these two shades right here, with my NYX 16 blending brush. I'm going to run this in my crease. This is my favorite combination for the crease because burnt orange is a really nice shade, but I love adding a little bit of like peachiness into it with orange soda. So I'm going to do that. And I just do this super lightly because I'm going to go in and add more definition with the shade Rustic. But this just gives us a nice base. And I just put a little bit of concealer on my eyelids to kind of help prime and ready them for the eyeshadow today. For a natural look like this, I normally do my face makeup first, just because I'm not using a ton of dark shades, so I know there isn't going to be like too bad fallout. Too much fallout. I don't know what I'm saying. So I just do this really quickly, usually on an everyday basis. I don't have a ton of time to sit and blend eyeshadow for an hour. I mean, I wish I did. I would love to be able to sit and blend eyeshadow all day, but when I'm in a rush or just for an everyday when I have to run out, I like to do my makeup pretty quickly, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Next up, I'm going to take Rustic, which is the shade right here, and I'm going to focus this mainly on the outer corners and then kind of on my lash line here, just to add a little bit of definition. I will put a little bit into the crease. We're just going to see where this goes. I normally just kind of wing this part, whatever look I'm really going for that day, so I'm going to move in a little closer so you guys can see. But I'm just going to start tapping the product right on the outer corner and then kind of sweeping it down along the lower lash or upper lash line. And then I'm just going to blend it up into the crease. And because I am going to top this eye look off with a shimmery shade from the palette, I don't mind if I get some of the shade on the lid. Doesn't really matter. I'm not being super precise with this look because it is just like a natural everyday look. So I'm just going to take a little bit more Rustic and do the same to the other eye. I've been trying to get better at like blending my eyeshadow. And I feel like the softer I work, the easier it is. So that is the look so far. Super easy, super natural. Well, as natural as like eyeshadow can be. Next up, I am going to take the shade Bronze, which is like this gold shade, on my finger. I'm just going to lightly pack that on the lid. I don't want it to be too opaque because I want it to look pretty everyday natural kinda, but I do want to just a nice shimmery wash. So I'm just gonna pack this, and then with a clean finger I'm just gonna kind of blend it out. So now I'm gonna go back in with my NYX blending brush and take more of the shade Burnt Orange and a little bit of orange soda and just blend out that line right here where the gold kind of went up into my crease. And I don't need a ton of product to do this. I just kind of want to diffuse that line and make it a little smoother. Okay, now I'm going to take a little pencil brush. This is a Chanel brush. I don't even know what number it is because it's completely rubbed off. I stole this I think from my mom and she had it for a pretty long time. And I'm going to take this shade Sienna and kind of just put this a little bit on the outer corner just to give it a little something, a little bit more definition. If you want to just leave this look at this stage, totally go for it. But I just want to add a little something. It just adds like a little slight definition on the outer corner. It's nothing crazy. Because these shades are all pretty similar in tone, minus the orange soda, it just kind of gives a little bit of like a deeper effect, but not a ton. Okay, that's it for the eyeshadow. Normally on like an everyday basis, I don't put eyeshadow on my lower lash line just because I'm not the best at it. So I am going to quickly finish up my cheek products and then we will put on some mascara and I will show you the finished look. I love that the shift that this gold eyeshadow has. It's so pretty. I'll try and show you when we zoom in. But I'm going to use the Glossy Lash Slick. This is my go-to everyday mascara. I think it makes the lashes look so beautiful. It really does just lengthen and separate them so well. As always, if you guys want 10% off, there is a link in the description box. Don't feel obligated to use it. Alright, mascara is on. I'm not going to put any on my bottom lashes because it'll just get all over my face. I'm going to zoom you guys in quickly so you can see the look. So this is the look close up, just very like natural and just warm toned. My everyday. But I did want to show you like the shift that this gold has. Like it is so beautiful. I love this gold shade in this palette. It's one of my favorite shadows from the palette. And I literally top almost every single eye look off with it. So I really like it. But I just wanted to show you guys how versatile this palette is. I think it's really amazing. If you don't have a ton of neutral palettes in your collection, I definitely feel like this is a staple. I might almost like this one better than the Modern Renaissance because I feel like I can do more things with this palette. I love the Modern Renaissance for like a rosy neutral look, but I just feel like there are so many different things you could do with this palette. So for an everyday, if this was the only palette you owned, I feel like this is a really good one. Obviously if you have a ton of neutral palettes, it's not necessary, but if you like to collect neutral palettes, I would highly recommend this. It's a really nice palette. Anastasia did a really good job with this one. But yeah, so that wraps up this video. This is the third look for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found this like kind of somewhat helpful. If there are any palettes that you guys would like me to do a 3 looks, 1 palette video on, definitely let me know. I think I want to do the Milani palette, I can't remember what it's called, next, because I just got that and it's a good like affordable drugstore option. So I might do that one next. But if there are any palettes you guys would like to see, let me know in the comments down below. I almost said the description box. That's the second time I've almost done that. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in our next video. Bye guys.